YouTube! How the heck are you? We're on something really special today. Still in its break-in, which means it's not that fast. But it is gorgeous. And it's a dream. It's the BMW M1000RR. If you're worried, single R is still around. I actually traded my GS in on this. My dealer got this bike in, and these things have had me since I first saw them. I went with the single for more practicality, and can confirm it is more practical than this. Who knew, right? But just the look of this thing, man, like whatever it is, it has it. What you'll notice immediately when you get on this, and it's not exactly news, is that this isn't a cruiser. And I knew that going in, obviously. Like, it's not like I bought this to go across the country on. But what I found so interesting is, compared to the single R might as well be a GS. I'm not kidding. That single R I could spend hours on. This, I'd need a break after about an hour. My back is letting it be known that it has some questions. And that's okay. I know I also just need to get used to it. And there's what's odd too is on the screen here, on the single R, when it was in its break-in, the red line actually went down to where the actual red line was, and there's a hard cut. And by a hard cut, I mean RIP your balls if you don't pay attention. And I didn't know that when I first got my single R, and boy, did I learn a lesson. Something about being a dude, I'm sure you understand. You just have to get kicked in the balls once. And you generally don't do that thing again, right? Which is fair, makes sense. So anyway, I'm trying to pay attention to definitely shift by 8,000. Just to go ahead and get out in front of the jokes and the questions, it has not blown up yet. Fingers crossed. Knock on M1000RR. This thing's slippery, man. Again, not surprising, right? But the biggest difference that I've noticed between this and the single is it doesn't flick around like a madman, right? Like it just doesn't go, you know, it has a lot more grace to it. And that's not to say this isn't flickable. It is. It's very sensitive. Feels great. You know, the cue to shift is right when I feel it go. As soon as I feel my ass go back, it's like, oh, we gotta shift. Sorry, dude. That's okay. Another thing I've noticed is these tires. It has Michelin Power Cup 2s on it, which is a 90-10 tire, 90% track, 10% road. So they aren't going to go very long. They're horrible in the cold. Forget about the rain. But dry pavement, man, I can feel it. This thing goes. I think when it does come time to replace them, I won't put them back on. Just because I'd like a tire that I could actually ride when it's colder. and has a little more life out of it. Most people say 1,200 to 1,500 miles, which really isn't that much, especially when you consider it's carbon rims and you got to take it in. You know, I'm not just going to take it to any tire shop and just all that good stuff, so I'm trying to make life a little easier in the future. They're good tires. They feel good. I like them. I think the single R has Bridgestone RS11s, which aren't nearly as aggressive tire. They're still an aggressive tire, but nowhere near these. And those aren't bad, but you can tell how sticky these are. And I've really got no plans to do track days in the near future with this. I'd love to in the future down the road, but there's no real good tracks around me, and I'm just not in that spot right now. Also, it's such an expensive bike. I don't, you know, I'd buy a cheap track bike, I think, before I ever just went and ripped this out there. In fact, here might be a good place to stop. We can take a look at this. Man, gorgeous bike. I'm in love. I can't get over it. I keep going out into my garage and just staring at it. Like, I'll come inside and do whatever I need to do for 30 minutes, an hour, then I'll just go peek and check on this thing. Come on, there you go. All right, so here she is, guys. Look at that beautiful bike. I can't get over it. It just looks so freaking good. Golly. Beautimous. Can't wait to get it unlocked. Can't wait for the tune. Pretty pumped up about it. And just the fact I have a M1000RR, man, doesn't feel real. Got some baby pops. Hill hold. People talk shit about it. Love it. Another difference between this and the M single R is the clutch. This clutch engages much more quickly when you're letting it out than the single. Much more sensitive, which I guess makes sense. This is an actual race bike. The single's just I don't even know, a bat out of hell. Kind of a Frankenstein of a naked bike and a track bike. And if you thought you wanted to go fast on a single R, this you want to go fast on. It just gets better. The faster you go, the better it feels. And this thing's trouble, man. And it's amazing how slippery it is. Just coming from that single R. Like the way wind hits you and it buffets, like the bike just kind of takes it. Like you'll feel it pushing, but it just cuts. It's like a knife. It's the best description I can give, just a knife through the air. If you've never broken in any of these BMW bikes, what I've found is to run them. They have that RPM limiter for a reason. You aren't going to hurt it. Use the thing. Let it run up and down the RPM. Let it engine brake. And I can tell you from that single R, and I have, it's anecdotal, but I've seen guys that have dynoed these bikes, and the guys that ran them, they got a few more horsepower out of them. And to me, it makes sense. You know, it's shit, some dead thing right there. To me, it makes sense that, you know, in the first probably 100 miles or so, all these parts are really getting to know each other. And so the more you can get them to wear in, the better. Because once you're kind of set, you're set. And it's not like if you took it easy, this still wouldn't be a fast bike. It would be. But I genuinely plan to keep this for a long time. It's one of my favorite motorcycles I've ever seen in my life. I love this thing. I love how it looks. I'm not disappointed in how it rides. The single R is way more practical, way more general purpose. Probably 4 out of 5 times I'd take the single R depending on what I'm doing. But having this in the back pocket is just amazing. I gotta pinch myself. It's just too cool. M1000RR into the sunset. Trying not to hit the hard limiter. Because my nuts. Oh, one other thing. If you don't like attention, which I don't particularly, you know, I'd kind of rather be the gray man, just go through life and not really bother anybody, not be bothered. But the attention that you get on this thing, it surprised me a little bit. Like I knew it's a cool bike, and I knew guys would say, you know, they'd see it, and, oh, you know, that's cool and all that. But like, it's this. If this was a milkshake, it brings the boys to the yard every time. It's kind of funny, actually. Like, I've had guys, I was going down the highway the other day, and this guy on a CBR, like, he was losing his mind when he saw this. And I've had people come up to me at the gas station, and you can tell when I'm sitting at lights, I'll catch them just staring me down. It must be how a really pretty girl feels. But it's a motorcycle. And by the way, if you think a motorcycle is going to get you women, it's not. You yourself will get women. The motorcycle will get dudes. If you want to meet guys, get an M1000RR. Because it's, you know, if I was gay, I'd be killing it. I think that hard limiter is around 115, 120. Not entirely sure. I don't want to find it again. Like I said, net PTSD. Check my mirrors every once in a while. Oh yeah, so plans for this bike. Cat's gonna go. That's a foregone conclusion. It's gonna get a full system. The mirrors, I'm not so sure about, because they're actually functional. That brother didn't wave. But I hate how they look. Rizoma makes the stealth mirrors that go in that position. And I actually like the Rizoma stealth mirrors, how they look on most bikes. On this bike, I really don't. So I think I'm going to get some block-off plates and maybe get like a CRG mirror or something for right there. I don't know. I want to have mirrors. I don't want to be that guy that just takes them all the way off, because I do use them. And I feel safer with them, it's just situational awareness, right? And so I'm kind of trying to figure out, because I'm so tall, that if I did put a mirror down here, I am having to do this to look. Like I'm having to look down and left for sure. I can't just glance, you know, like right here. So that's something I need to figure out. Not so sure. But the other thing I want to do is finish carboning this thing out. You heard me. As if there wasn't enough carbon fiber, there's still more. I think I want to do some frame covers and do the plastics that are under the seat back there. And the intake in the front, it's like surrounded by carbon fiber, but then it goes into black plastic. So I think I'm going to do that too. Ideally, I want to take the bike like really apart once. And just kind of do everything then. So I may do it down the road once I get everything in. Carbon especially, it's kind of hard just to find that stuff in stock. It's pretty rare. You're lucky if you do find the Elmberger stuff. It's either got to come from Germany, or they got to make it, and then it's got to come from Germany, and depending if you ordered it from a store here or the middleman. Jeez. So I got my suspension pretty stiff, and maybe you can hear it in my voice. It's kind of... That's okay, though. Double R stuff. I didn't buy this bike to be comfortable, I'll tell you that. But just when I got rid of the vacuum cleaner sound on that single R, we're back. Baby pops. Need to get those to be some man pops. Brakes are stellar. Who'd have guessed? No urgency with people. Don't they know there's a M1000RR behind them? Honestly, either someone knows what this is and they think it's the coolest thing ever, or they have no clue and they give zero shits. Oh, lucky day, man. This light usually takes forever, and I always get stuck at it. Come on. Nope. Yes. Get that 91. Ah, shit. First time I've killed it. So anyway, guys, I appreciate you watching. Hit me up with any questions. I appreciate all the likes and subscriptions and just all the YouTube stuff, man. There will be more of this bike on the channel for sure. More single R. I'll see you next time. Have a good one.